Hello friends, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. After my last video, I had to do another floral card. I had to. In my last video, I used some Simon Says Stamp wafer dies and I Copic colored the daisies to look like one of the types of African daisies I have growing in planters this year. And another color combo I have is just, again, like chef's kiss. It was gorgeous. And I had to do it. It just wouldn't get out of my head. So this time, I die cut some Hammermill cardstock with honeybee stamps, lovely layers, Coneflower wafer die. I've done multiple videos using this wafer die set because it's one of my favorites. Love it. Love it. So anyway, I die cut the Hammermill. It doesn't have to be Hammermill. Just a lighter cardstock is kind of nice sometimes. People have asked me about that. Like, do you find that it's too heavy or too bulky when you have these lovely layers die sets that have multiple, some of them quite a few layers? Honestly, I personally don't care. I don't mind the bulk. I'll pay the little extra for postage, that sort of a thing. It just depends on my mood. But if you want a lighter cardstock and you're going to do like ink blending or coloring, the Hammermill works great, or Nina's 80-pound cardstock, that also works really well. So yeah, I did the Hammermill because it was sitting here, so I was like, why not? And I die cut it, and then I'm ink blending, and I'm using a bunch of Simon's Pawsitively saturated inks, and I am blending the colors in the way they actually appear in real life. So I've got these African daisies that are orange on the edges, like on the ends of the tips, and from the flower centers, it's like purple to fuchsia and then to orange, and they look like they're glowing. They're so pretty. I'm going to plant them every single year because they're so pretty. And the other ones I did, if you haven't seen my previous video, I'll link to it at the end of this one. But those ones were yellow, and the centers of the petals, like from the flower center, was like a purple to like a pink and then to yellow, and oh, they're beautiful. Anyway, these look like a hot mess. I started with the orange, and I was using my small Simon blender brushes. And then to add the detail of colors, I'm using my little waffle flower shader brush. These are the size 1. And I'm using those to pull in the pink color and the purple. And I'll link to the specific colors. I used grapefruit and mandarin positively saturated inks for my oranges. For the pink, it was Simon's Peony pink. And then I used violet and iris for the purples. And I'm not obviously doing like a smooth blend. I've got these like splotches of color. Only reason it looks like this is because once everything's layered together, you're not going to see that. So I'm not worried about like creating a perfectly smooth blend. It's only when I get to the very top layer of these florals that I make sure it's more of a smooth blend. You know, it's not just me slapping the color on. And I work that way. That's why I keep, grabbing the next layer and sticking it on top so I can see like what is actually going to show up. What are you going to see when this is done? So once I had my little system in place, this actually went quite quickly. Obviously not near as fast as I have sped it up here in editing, but it still went fairly quickly. And it was fun to see these colors just come together, and it ended up being very similar in a sense, like how they look in real life. It was fun. Like as these inks do soften, they kind of smooth out as they dry, but the biggest thing is they soften. It's hard to explain, but it's really pretty. And I'm glad I chose these. Although you could also use distress inks. Those would look beautiful. Distress oxide inks would be really fun. Like pretty much any ink, you could do this with Copics. Sky's the limit, I've shown a bunch of different ways to do the lovely layers wafer dies, all different types. I've used shimmer sprays and oxide sprays and spray stains and inks and all of it. It's fun. So I did the petals. I did the centers with cappuccino and mocha. And then the leaves I did sprout, fairway, and field. And I did the base in the lightest color with a blending brush, and then I added the detail. Basically, I was just pulling the color from the center with another one of the waffle flower shader brushes. Really like these brushes. They're fun. And I have it in one little waffle flower holder. I showed it when these came out. I'll link to the little holder because I love the holders because it fits in my little IKEA picture ledge shelves like it was meant to be. And I just get bizarre satisfaction from things like that. So anyway, once I was done on my blending, I start assembling. And it's once they're assembled, you know, it looks more intentional, no longer a splotchy mesh of color that doesn't make any sense. So like all the other lovely layers die sets, you basically go largest to smallest. These come together so easily. You can just, there's all these different little pieces and edges that just fit together. You know, they just line up. So you don't really need to think that hard, which I love, you know, because if I have to think too much, I'm just like, nope. So I got it assembled and it was like, yes. So I assembled my flowers and then I grabbed another piece of just white cardstock and I ran it through with another oldie but goodie favorite. It was the Honeybee Quilted A2 cover plate. I was going to just do a white background, but I still had this Salvage Patina oxide spray sitting here and I was like, ooh, that'll just add a nice little bit of like color to a background. So I stuck that in my splat box, sprayed a bit of that oxide spray over this background. So I've got that kind of splatter as well as just the really subtle quilted piercing detail. And then for my main sentiment, I'm using one of the buzzwords from Honeybee. This is the thanks. This is another one of the ones that comes with like an outline and a secondary outline with piercing detail, but I use just the word. So I die cut that multiple times from black cardstock. And then I also use some sentiments from the Inside Thankful Sentiments stamp set, which has a ton of sentiments, a bunch of them meant for the insides of cards, which y'all know if you watch my videos, I got to put stuff on the inside of the cards. So I'm really glad that Honeybee's been releasing these inside sets with sentiments and phrases and things. So love it. Anyway, those I stamped with the iris ink onto just scraps of white cardstock. And then I quickly adhered the layers of that thanks wafer die together with craft tacky glue. Once those were adhered, I took the coordinating wafer dies for those stamped sentiments because, again, Honeybee not only does all the phrases and everything else, but they've got like coordinating wafer dies for pretty much everything. Again, love, because when I will do this over anything. If I don't have to sit and fiddle and like, you know, line things up and make them straight, it's like, I can just stamp it, slap the wafer die in place, die cut it. Perfect. Anyway, die cut those sentiments, and then I adhered that background to an A2 card base, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and then I adhered the one sentiment to the inside of the card, and then figured out how I wanted to arrange my flowers and leaves, and those I adhered as well with just craft tacky glue. So once I had those built up, I'm going to adhere my die cut sentiment and then the little companion stamped and die cut sentiment. And the whole time I was doing this, I was thinking about like what other splatter I would add or bling, you know. There's just so many possibilities, especially when I own like 5 lifetimes worth of bling. I think I've increased that. I think before I used to say I had 3 lifetimes of bling. I think at this point I'm at like 5 lifetimes now. Anyway. Adhered the sentiments, and then I actually, funny enough, I was inspired by the paper towel that I have in my splat box. When I did the background, I was like, ooh, because there was, you know, a bit of black splatter and a bit of gold splatter, and then that Salvage Patina splatter, and I was like, those 3 look really nice together. And that inspired the rest of this card. I was like, I'm going to add black splatter, and I'm going to add gold splatter. Why not? So I took a bit of Black Soot Distress Paint, put that on just my little plastic palette, took my little fan brush, splattered that over these flowers and the background. And then because I have more than one fan brush, so I didn't have to wash this brush out yet, I will wash it out after I'm done this. You always want to wash distress paint off your surfaces, your brushes, etc., because it does dry permanent. So I grabbed a second fan brush and my Gonzai Tombi Starry Colors so I can add some gold splatter. So did that, washed those brushes, everything's good to go. And that completed this card. Finally got this color combo on these flowers, you know, out of my head onto paper. love it. I would never think to do, you know, purple and orange together, but yeah, that bit of, you know, the deep pink, and yeah, that literally is how it shows up in nature. How fun is that? So anywho, like always, I will have a link below the video to my blog post, and I will link to all the supplies I use, so you can check that out below if you are interested. Thank you all so much for watching and subscribing and thumbs upping and commenting, all the good things. I very much appreciate it, and I'll see you all very soon in the next video. Bye!